Palmistry reading of a female whose age is 20 years approximately. We are reading her hand. I am Manish this side from palmistindian.com. We would be reading this particular lady's hand, and I would try to point out important aspects that I see on her hand. Now, two important aspects stand out in her hand. One is this particular island out here and a break on the heartline out here. Island is seen on the heartline, and there's also a island like formation on the headline. This is basically the headline. This particular line is the headline that is seen out here. Now, a person who does have problems on the head or the heartline, it basically signifies some kind of issues that may be there in her life. And having an island on the heartline signifies elongated period of emotional stress and anxiety. So this is one aspect. Then there's a small branch that is hanging downwards. So many people have these kind of branches. So people shouldn't basically get afraid with these particular branches. Yes, they are negative, but they are negative to a very small extent, because these branches basically they are kind of hanging on to the heart and they're pulling the heart downwards. So these particular branches are the lines of attachments. Attachment bring in expectations. Expectations are not fulfilled. That's the reason disappointment is experienced. But because these branches are not very long kind of branches, if they were very long branches, the strain on the heart would have been more compared to smaller branches. So these are smaller branches, so the effect is going to be limited. The third aspect is that there is appearing to be a break kind of a formation on the heartline. Break on the heartline means an abrupt ending in a relationship or a partnership. So this is also seen in many people's hand. Even if you take a look at the hand of let's say Bill Gates, even he had a break. So don't think that these breaks are not seen in normal people's hand. Yes, they are seen, but they do depict some amount of emotional issues. But if the heartline is reasonably okay, the person would be able to control the negative impact that may play out in their life. Now, the good part is that the main heartline is kind of angling towards the mount of Saturn. So heartline angling towards, pointing towards the mount of Saturn is considered to be a good sign, because it relates to money, possessions, wealth, wisdom, responsibility. So such a person values money, respects money, they love outer appearances, and they love money, and this is what they aspire for. Heartline ending on the mount of Saturn means in their heart they aspire for money, possessions, wealth, and it is everybody is doing the same thing. Don't think that it is in any way wrong. Being materialistic is not a wrong thing, and because we are living in a material world, so expecting material rewards is nothing wrong in that. And people who have this kind of a formation, they automatically make more money in their life compared to people whose heartline is very long, ending on the mount of Jupiter. So in her case, she's not an idealistic person, she's not a sensitive person, she is more of a realistic kind of a person, because heartline ending on the mount of Saturn makes a person more realistic. Saturn is more to do with money, possessions, wealth. Now towards the end, the heartline is also having a curvature like formations. Curvature on the heartline could make a person very passionate. Display of emotions can be there, and the person could be expressive with their emotions. So it need not be a person who's expressive with their emotion that they are more emotional kind of people. So in that way, it is good to have a smaller line compared to having a longer heartline. Now this line is a little bit unclear what I should consider. Probably this could be a branch of the heartline hanging downwards towards the headline. It could mean misplaced affections. It means being affectionate to somebody who is not worth your affection. So this is one way of looking at it. Now the head and the lifeline, they are joined at the initial start for a long duration of time. So these people are extremely cautious, shy, hardworking, and contemplating. They would kind of contemplate and contemplate before arriving at the conclusion. So they may miss out on some opportunities, but it's all okay. Even if you lose some opportunity, it is all okay, because then you can work upon the limited opportunities that remain in your life. So it's not a basically a negative sign to have if both these lines are joined together. It just makes them a little bit cautious, shy, hardworking, and contemplating. Having an island-like formation, this is the money line, this is the headline, this intersection is age 35. So this portion of money line before the age of 35. From this portion to this portion, 35 to 53. And this portion of the headline is before the age of 35. So we are just talking about the headline age before the age of 35. Now, in this particular case, what we find is that there appears to be an island-like formation under the finger of Saturn. Now, Saturn is the area for the good part is money management, wisdom, responsibility. All these things are positive. The negative thing is basically sadness, depression, depressive tendencies, or some major mental issues that may crop up, or some way the person may get troubled. Now, some people may claim that they may not have depression or depressive tendencies or sadness. It may have to do with the stomach, and the stomach gets basically affected, probably due to depressive tendencies or something else, like the head affects the stomach or the stomach affects the mind. It could be vice versa. So don't think that it is only one thing, it could be vice versa. And it is because it's a long kind of island, so there's an elongated period of mental stress and anxiety that the person may experience in their life. So somehow if they are able to manage it, and it's all happening before the age of 35, and somewhere around the age of 35 these tendencies are kind of ending, the problems are ending somewhere close to the age of 33, 34. And these problems remain for quite a while, quite a long period of time, maybe 5 or 6 years duration the person may experience those issues. Now the thing is that even if you have an island-like formation, it is all okay, provided the headline is neat and clean towards the end. So the headline appears to be neat and clean, so more clarity comes in the thought process in one's life, having a neat and clean headline. So after trouble, the person would experience mental stability also. But for a long duration, there could be some issues that may remain with this particular person. Now, as far as the headline goes, there's a kind of a upward kind of a line pointing from the area of Jupiter again. That means the person is seeking honor, respect, and the person would ultimately somehow reach to a high position in their life. Then few lines are kind of pointing towards the mount of Saturn also. These are considered to be good. Even this particular is considered to be good. This is at a very late stage, probably after the age of, let's say, 55 or 60. These are basically around the age of 40s, and this is at an early phase period of life. So whatever line that are there in the earlier portion of life, they also remain throughout their life. So it's not that a line that is there in the earlier portion, their results won't be experienced in the later portion of one's life. Now, as far as the money line goes, there appears to be no stable money line out here, but the money line kind of forms somewhere from this particular point. So this particular point is approximately age 32 or 33, and it kind of touches the headline, and it at the age of 35 it kind of ends, the money line ends. At the same point, I think there's an upward kind of a line. It's not very clear, but it appears a very, very thin kind of a line appears pointing towards the amount of Mercury. That's considered to be a good sign. It means mental upliftment somewhere at that particular age. So in spite of having this ending of the money line could bring about some issue, financial issue, because money line is ending. And there are 2 or 3 meanings attached to it. It could be job loss, work loss, business loss. So this is one way of looking at it. The second thing could be the main earning member of the family, their health or wealth goes down. So more responsibility falls onto this particular person's head. So this transformation period would last from the age of 35 till approximately till the age of 37 or 38. And it basically stabilizes and it reaches the hard line, so age is 53 at this particular point. So that's considered to be good. After the age of 53, you would notice that the line is wavering. So Wavering lines are not so good, but the good part is that there are less lines over the mount of Saturn. Having less lines over any particular mount is always a very good sign, because then the mount is going to function in a best possible way. The functioning of the mount, the good functioning of the mount is required. Saturn is for money, possessions, wealth, and wisdom. So these things are likely to be there in her life. Now, if they were crisscrossing kind of lines, then we would say bad aspect. If there were bad crisscrossing lines on the mount of Mercury, it would mean that the person would miscommunicate, miscalculate. We don't see this particular sign out here. There are no lines on the mount of Mercury, so even having no lines as well is considered to be a good sign to have. So you don't need to have a sun line, you don't need to have a long sun line or a money line in order to be successful. Even having less lines on your palm could also mean success as well. So don't think that lines are necessary. Some people may have a prominent, well padded mount of Mercury. That would be good, but even if it is not there, it's plain simple. Even then, it does give good result. Mount of Mercury is the area for your how good we are able to communicate or calculate in our life. So people who communicate and calculate in a good way are the ones basically who are likely to be more successful in their life. So in that way, I would say it is a good sign to have. Now there appears to be a mole out here. Now the age at which the mole is there after the intersection, so after the age of 35, so somewhere close to the age of 40, 42. Now the thing is, even see, mole makes that particular area significant, and because there's a mole on the headline, so it may have to do with something with the thought process. Mole does bring significant results, sometimes good and sometimes bad. So you can't pinpoint exactly if it is always going to be good or always going to be bad. Now if you take a look at the lifeline is reasonably good, and at the same time there is a supporting lifeline. Now this supporting lifeline is an important line to refer. It is kind of also, there's another name to it. It is also called the Mars line and the supporting lifeline, or it is also called the guardian angel line. The meaning remains the same. It is basically guarding you, guarding this particular female, and it basically guards against difficult people, difficult situations, and generally they come out as winners. So this particular line is in the most important portion of one's life. So somewhere close to the age of, let's say, 22 till the age of around the age of 55, 60. So if this is there, so some kind of a support system could be there in her life. So that is going to support her. Or this line could also mean fighting spirit, fighting against difficult people and difficult situations to come out as winner. Now, by having this island, the person needs to be kind of take care more of the stomach. The reason why we say this could be the stomach related issues, because this is the center of the palm, so this is the center of the body, and in the center of the body our stomach is there, so stomach gets affected. Simple lines would have been better. A simple something like this line would have been better, but even if it is there, so everyone has some problem or the other. So it's all okay to have these issues, these negative lines also, because the person would be able to fight against these things and come out as winners. Now if we take a look at the left hand, you would wonder why we were taking a look at the right hand for female. The thing is that both hands do show similarity, so it doesn't matter we take a look at the left hand or the right hand, provided they are similar. So in most people's cases, not just in this particular person's case, in most people's cases, our both hands do show similarity, so we can read any hand to arrive at the conclusion. Now same aspects goes out here. Island kind of a formation out here. Even if you don't say that this is island, there appears to be two lines kind of running parallel to each other. So it is something like the heart is in two boats, and two boats means more instability. So having, it should be just one single line. So one single line means that the heart is on one boat. So heart on one boat is more stable. Imagine you're standing on two boats and there are two lines out here. So it means the chances of destabilization increases. So it's always better to have a single line instead of having dual kind of a line. And it's kind of appearing to be an island. Island is elongated period of emotional stress and anxiety. There are two islands. And island under the finger of sun basically signifies eyes or heart related issues, and the heart line is also kind of having a break like formation out here. So this is in the later portion, so it could mean some emotional issues in the earlier as well as the later portion of one's life. So the person needs to care a little bit about the heart or eye related issues. So this is the person needs to be a little bit careful. Now, similar things are seen out here. The headline is kind of leaning a little bit downwards, pointing towards the mount of moon. So this is a little bit negative. And there's an island-like formation out here, and from somewhere close to this is the intersection. So this portion of the headline is before the age of 35. So before the age of 35, there appears to be few problems. The line of head is a little bit unclear, kind of a formation of an island. Unclear line means on the head means a lack of clarity in the thought process or some mental issue or the other. And every line should have some gradual motion. If there's not a gradual motion, so this portion, when there is no gradual motion, it could mean irrationality. You wouldn't be able to reason out so that particular person during that particular portion of one's life. And consider something, the headline to be something like a railway track. It's a very predictable track to run your train on. It is not an abrupt kind of a track. It is something like if you are here and you have to reach out here, so it's not going to be a right turn, something like this. The train is not going to be having a abrupt right turns. Those turns are going to be extremely gradual turns. It can be gradual upward turn, a gradual straight turn, or a slight downward turn. So those are very, very predictable. Out here, the predictability issues goes down, and it is kind of like having a wave-like formation. So wave-like formations on the headline brings mental instability during that particular portion of time. I could be wrong. See, don't think that I'm 100% right. These are just possibilities. Sometimes a person also reaches to a very, very high position in spite of having all these issues as well. So the person, if they get good guidance, probably the person can reach. And but they need to somehow cool their mind down. If they are able to cool their mind down, things are likely to be good. Headline kind of branches out, so that's considered to be a good sign. There's also upward kind of a motion also. All these lines are considered to be good. Upward lines means more success, and this branch like thing on the headline after the age of 33, 34, it could mean genius. So the person is able to view things in two or three different perspectives. The headline that is only like singular has got a limited perspective, limited view of thought process. The headline that kind of something like this, that would have a wider perspective of the thoughts. And so this is what I can say. A money line is also kind of breaking before it touches the headline, before the age of 35, around the age of 34, and a new line starts after that, and it is stable. So after the age of, let's say, 37, 38, things are going to stabilize, and the trouble is going to be there from the age of 34 till the age of 36, 37, 38. So these things can be expected. If we are able to somehow withstand these issues, we are going to be successful. Now her hand, one significant thing is that notice that it appears that the headline is kind of pointing towards the mount of Jupiter. So that's considered to be a good sign for higher positions. Normally the headline starts something like this. If it angles to upward, a little bit upward, even if the lifeline also angles a little bit towards the mount of Jupiter, that's considered to be good for higher position. Now the lifeline ends, then there's a new overlap. Now this overlap is also pointing towards the mount of Jupiter, and any line kind of pointing from the mount of Jupiter and joining something like this is good. Overlapping lines is always good. It means increase of more fire and more energy. Imagine a situation something like this. Imagine a situation that if this original line had continued something like this, then the semicircle would be less. Now there's an overlap out here. So overlapping means this is the area for fire and this is the area for fuel. So overlap basically means more fire coming into the person and more fuel. So there is likely to be a higher upgradation in her life. Overlapping is also good. Yes, break is not considered to be good, but still, because there's a overlap, we can say things, good things can be expected. Now, this particular age is approximately around the age of late 20 and early 30s, and it should bring more fruit. It should be very, very fruitful for her. And I would end my video out here. Hopefully you like this particular video. If you like this video, click on the like button. Do subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon on YouTube. Get a paid reading from me, and these are the phone number and the email. We can come to know about money from almost all aspects of our palm. It can be our headline, our heartline, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or any other line or any other planet. And a saint once said, you don't need to go to an astrologer or a palmist to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you are doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. Keep positive thoughts and keep good company. Thanks, bye, and take care.